Hello and everybody and welcome to Failcast itself. It is Bulkenburg and Esteben coming at you for F1 2015. We're going for the Silverstone British Grand Prix in the game, but in real life we're going to be discussing all about the F1 2016 season opener. But first of all, Esteben, how are you, my Mexican friend?
Buenos dias, amigo. I'm okay now. I tell you what, I had tonsillitis for like the last 9 days, and I felt like dying. And Channel 4 didn't help. They had no sympathy for me at all. So I've been itching to do this, and I kind of wanted to do it right after the race, but then I didn't have a voice, so we probably made the right call. I've already sounded like God. I don't need to sound like a piece of farm machinery.
No, I was watching some of your videos over on your YouTube channel, and a bit like the Hangover video where you had you doing Grand Prix World. One video ends with "I'm off for a party. I'm going to be wrecked tomorrow. I don't think there'll be a video," and then immediately the next video in the playlist goes "Morning." There is a meme in there somewhere, I swear.
Still to this day, I don't know how that first 5 seconds got in that video because I swear I cut it out. The bit where I'm like, I'm trying to clear my throat and stuff. I was dead. I shouldn't have made that video, but I'm glad that I did.
Oh, it's provided me no end of amusement. As did, to be fair, quite a lot of the opening race of 2016. The fail that was the qualifying session, and thank you everyone that watched that one. That seemed to have sparked quite a bit of interest in terms of the views and the figures. But the race itself wasn't too bad either, and we'll be decanting our thoughts into a pretty bowl whilst crashing around Silverstone.
Yeah, hopefully not crashing. I've got a new controller in a different USB port. Do you remember at the start of the season when my microphone kept disconnecting because my brand new computer, the USB ports weren't aligned with the case properly?
Yes.
I think that may have been the problem, but just in case, I've got a new controller as well. So hopefully I don't... If I bin it for legit reasons.
Okay. Wow.
Right. I had a setup for this track, and it was crap.
I'm reverting back to standard of just doing the one-up along the way. I was having a quick cheeky test because a quick preview for... I'm going to upload this straight after we've done this, but my Trackmania Turbo arrived, so I was having to quickly test out how this plays again because I wanted to do loop-the-loops and like 500-metre jumps and everything, and I was like, this might not work in a McLaren. Only Alonso can do.
Well, I don't know. Jenson Button managed to convincingly parachute one out the back of a military aircraft, so I'm fairly sure loop-the-loops within its capabilities.
That was quite lolling.
I have to say, that was a marked improvement on the car. I don't think last year's car would have made it out of the back of a plane.
No, it would have cried enough and just dropped out in existence. Jensen, dead on arrival.
Speaking of dead on arrival, let's talk the Grand Prix. And I'm jumping the gun a little, but dead on arrival, Fernando Alonso. I think we're all very grateful that he wasn't dead on arrival, though he should have been.
Yeah, that crash. Turn 3 down there does like to give a good few crash-aroos, and that one was certainly one of the biggest ones that I've seen for a very, very long time. And it's weird how the camera, especially like the first part of that where he smacks the back of Gutierrez, kind of, it all looks a bit toyish and not really like there's a big issue. But then it's the bit where the camera shows the car flipping, and then you think, fucking hell. And then there's like a whole debris that's going on behind.
I think that was it. I think that was what horrified me the most. There was a certain shot. Most of the shots, it didn't look super dramatic from some angles, but there was that one angle that Channel 4 showed where it took out the camera.
Yes. And
there was another camera next to it that caught sort of the speed that it flew past the camera emplacement. And Cor Lummy, did that look bad? I mean, that is possibly the worst collision I've seen since Webber went into the back of Kovalainen's Lotus.
Yeah.
I'm getting horrific lag. I don't know about you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad.
Everyone's saying yellow flag all the time as well.
Well, I'm glad things are going as smooth as ever.
Of course. I expect no less. Um,
But was there an announcement on whose fault that accident was?
no, they decided that it was just a racing incident. Although when you look at it, because obviously Facebook erupts into like this huge blame culture, and there was that picture going around that was basically saying Verstappen crashes into Grosjean, disgraceful. Alonso crashes into the back of Gutierrez. Oh, it's all right, it's Alonso. They're two very, very separate accidents for me personally, and very much 50-50. I think Alonso says that it's more his fault than Gutierrez.
That's very big of him to say, because I was ready to pin it all on Gutierrez, to be honest, which maybe proves the point.
Gutierrez. Because, to me, Gutierrez moves to the left under braking.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It looked like he moved under braking.
And you can see it on the overhead camera shot, just how much he moves. But then Alonso, I think, outbraked himself as well, so a little bit 50-50. Definitely avoidable. But, yeah, just glad that all is okay with Nando's, because he's got a cheeky few points left in him yet. Oh, excellent. Vettel's just rammed the back of me and lost his front wing. Oh, and I've lost my lap because I've gone off the track.
I forgot that you lose downforce when following cars there and ran way out wide behind Kvyat. I forgot about that because I've not been able to follow cars closely for a while. I mean, to be fair, he was overtaking me, but...
I tell you what, the dirty air in this game is nothing compared to the dirty air that you get in some of the stuff that I'm playing in R Factor 2, where it is like nigh on impossible to follow cars round. It's really difficult.
You know, I got the demo of that, and the controls don't work. I can't seem to get it to work with any peripheral that I have.
Oh.
I mean, like, nothing works. I can get it to go forward, but can't steer. Which is kind of, as we've seen the last few weeks, it's kind of an inhibiting factor towards good performance.
This is true.
Shall we get our humble pie eating out of the way and
yes.
offer a sincere apology to Julian Palmer, who we both wrote off as Mr. Anonymous and then turned out to have a very more respectable debut. Definitely.
Out-qualified K-Mag, which one day I will accidentally just call Porn Mag. Yeah, done exceptionally well in that under the heat of Q1. And then showed off some pretty exemplary racecraft, it must be said. And I remember his racecraft being good in GP2, but it's great to see it translate and him not to be afraid to mix it straight off the bat.
It was very, very respectful racing,
yeah,
which you don't see enough of in Formula One. I found. I mean, outside, people like Massa, Button, the super experienced dudes.
Yeah.
You just don't seem to see enough of it. But in his case, I can't remember who it was he was dealing with wheel to wheel, but do you recall? I mean, I know he had an encounter with the Toro Rossos that I thought was excellent as well.
Yes. There was a couple throughout, wasn't there? Wasn't it Bottas?
Yeah, it could have been Bottas. Yeah, it could have been actually. But the point is that he made me happy on a number of levels because we always want to see rookies do well, right? We don't want to see anyone come into Formula One and be disappointing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. It's not good for the sport. And for once, I would say the standard of drivers on the grid at the moment, for the first time, is the least of F1's problems, and it's just good to see Palmer add to that by not just being brave and being competitive, but being respectful and not not binning it into a rival because he's so desperate to finish in front of them, but rather to, finish where he finishes on merit without taking anybody out unnecessarily.
Yeah, and there was that. I suppose for me as well it was aggressive, but there was finesse behind it. And in a year where last year our spoils and the excitement came from the ruggedness of Sainz and Verstappen, it was nice to see a different kind of flair that didn't look like at any moment they're about to have some kind of mass accident into a barrier, no matter how exciting that may be. It felt more controlled.
That is great explanation of it, actually, Simon. So hats off to you, sir, because I think that's what I've been trying to quantify about the Toro Rosso kids, and you've just done it perfectly. That it was aggressive, exciting racing, but it felt very much out of control.
And it especially became out of control in that last stint in the Melbourne Grand Prix, where Mr. Give me all of the toys and I'll throw them out the pram I don't think endeared himself to anyone.
He was we don't often feel the need to put a disclaimer before we say something, but if you're easily offended, close your ears now, or if you're Dutch, he acted like a total prick. That's the only thing I can think of. He was petty, he was vindictive, he was childish, he was demanding, all the things that can make for an excellent race driver, but make for a total bell.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go out with some drinks with him now.
He frustrates me, because I think with the talent he's got, and he's clearly very talented, it would only take a modicum of modesty and self-control to make him sort of a great ambassador for the sport. But as it stands, he's a great ambassador for being a spoiled child. Yes.
And what I found really, really funny was just on the way to doing this today, he's popped in a little article where he's basically said how Vettel and Ferrari are absolutely amazing and they are everything that I'd wish to be. And they have great team spirit about how they all work together, and that's something that I aspire to. But he's shown... No! He's shown nothing of it. And so, to me, that kind of... It doesn't matter how good you drive, if you don't play the team game to some degree, you're not going to be picked up.
I mean, the thing is that he could potentially have been faster than Sainz around Melbourne. I don't know. I don't see the race engineering data. But he couldn't overtake on track. Now, of course, an element of that is that these cars are notoriously bad in dirty air.
Yeah.
And we saw that to a certain extent by the fact that cars that were consistently faster couldn't get past Romain Grosjean.
Yes.
That, the combination of the characteristics of the circuit and the fact that these cars do not like to follow other cars means that you can keep cars behind you.
Yeah.
But just demanding that the team force Sainz to pull over, and then, do I recall correctly that Sainz's race engineer said to him, either you let him through or we box next lap? I'm sure I heard that.
I think so, yeah.
They threatened him with calling him in for a stop, which I thought was just disgusting and very unsporting.
I thought that's what they were saying to Verstappen. I can't remember, one of the two, but yeah, that was definitely said to one of them.
Well, maybe it was. If it was Verstappen, then I take that. I retract my comment. But
if it was Sainz, I agree.
I was very disappointed in Toro Rosso when I thought that they'd said that to Sainz.
Yeah.
I mean, what is his job? Is his job just to make up the mandated 2-car entry, or is his job to be the best racing driver he can be? I'd like to think it's the latter, but they're treating him like it's the former.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the TV coverage still doesn't call Verstappen out on his nonsense.
No, they're still busy. Doesn't matter which TV channel we're chucked on UK now. And from 2019, it looks like we're Sky only. which is another drama nail in.
Oh, we'll get to that, my friend, because I am getting livid.
I shall pass you the marshmallows because you're getting toasted on that one. Yeah, it's it doesn't matter what channel they're on, they're still having a wank over him, which, to be fair, is getting closer and closer to paedophilia.
No one's out on track. You're all in the pits.
Yeah, sorry, I was just watching you for the lap. Getting you some.
It was a terrible lap, so I wish you'd watched the lap before where I put it 15th. 15th is way better than I expected, to be honest with you.
Yeesh. 13 and 15 for the McLawans with their terrible.
Oh, 13th? Oh, I like that we're reasonably close to each other. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting to finish behind Mary.
No, my friend. However, that could be a good segue to talking about our little talking up of manner. And Verline and Harriento done quite well until the safety car came out, and then it all kind of unravelled.
You know, their pace in the first stint I found genuinely impressive, and they overtook the Saubers on merit. They made an on-track overtake.
Yes, yeah. And Verline held his own against the others and seemed to be fine in the train. It just seems rain.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Rio brings the rain.
Rio Harriento.
You said his name. You said his name.
Oh shit! I've ruined it now. That was one of our things. Damn it.
It was suitably racist. Yeah.
Yeah, at least it was still a bit racist. That's true. Stick to what we're good at. No, I don't know why it went off so badly for them, and I'd love anyone who knows to give an answer, because I was disappointed. I think they've got the step forward there to do better on track.
Yeah.
And the fact that, considering the relatively comparable pace, the fact that it went one way for Manor and one way for Haas, and I have been making no friends for myself with the Americans this week, by the way.
No.
But the Haas result bordered on actually annoying me. So can we talk about that for a moment? Because
yes, we can.
It actually did boil my piss a little bit, because I was on James Allen on F1 and all the F1 websites reading the news of the race, because that's what I do to prepare for this.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of comments from like NASCAR Fan 1 and people like that who've clearly never followed Formula 1 before, and they say, saying stuff like, it's only a matter of time before they win a race. Oh, we need a championship now and soon. And it's like, what fucking sport do you think you're watching that a team comes in and wins a championship within 2 years? I think there's this sort of prevailing idea that it's a single make formula, or a formula where it's commonplace to buy stuff off the shelf rather than it being a constructors championship.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway,
Rotas just rammed me off the road as he came up the pits.
God damn it, Bottas.
Rotas.
But the interesting thing was that I got into a heated debate with a guy, and I think he was American, but I apologise if he wasn't, who couldn't comprehend why them being the only team to make their one pit stop under red flag conditions was an advantage. He couldn't comprehend it. He said, everyone made a pit stop. I was like, yes, but when you make a pit stop and everybody is stood still, and you actually gain time by proxy anyway, because the 10-second gap to the car in front is now completely closed without you having to make any effort whatsoever, that artificially improves your performance.
By a good 30 seconds or so, or however long it takes to get in and out of Melbourne.
Well, I mean, the thing is, people assume that I was like being disparaging towards Haas themselves or to Grosjean's drive, and that really wasn't what I was saying. What I was saying is that as excellent as his drive was, if he'd had to make that pit stop the same way that everyone else had to make that pit stop, it would have been a great drive outside the points.
Yeah.
And not just a small way outside the points, he would have been genuinely outside the points, because it was a Grosjean train come the end of the race.
Yes. And I guess I'm still a bit clueless as to why that rule even exists. It seems like such a weird loophole that's caused problems for a couple of races now. remember the the Monaco race, where everyone was able to switch tyres, and that ruined the end of something there as well. Just seems a bit weird. It's raining.
You should not be allowed to work on your car during red flag conditions. That would be my takeaway. I've got no grip at all.
No, the rain's come.
And I've got a dry setup as well, which doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, what was your takeaway on that? Because I don't want people to think that I'm not happy to see a new team come in and do well. I'm more frustrated that there was a lot of disparaging comments towards Mana, which that genuinely did upset me.
Yeah, they're fine.
Because, that's a team of consummate engineers and racers, and it's a team that entered F1 as a true constructor.
Yep.
And they're being punished because they entered under a budget cap that was not enforced.
Exactly.
People actually use the term idiots and don't know what they're doing, and it bothered me. It did bother me. So I know occasionally we have people within the sport who give us a cheeky listen. If you're from Mana, I've got your back, guys.
Whoop, whoop.
I have your back. You guys are the fucking best.
I've got your side.
It's a team that encompasses everything F1 should be. It should be about the love of the sport, like Minardi used to be.
Yep. Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And I'm quite pleased that Haas have done well, or Haas, sorry. Haas. Into the pit, Simon, into the pit. Oh, fuck it. Complete the lap. Doesn't matter. It's about 3 minutes off the pace. Whilst I'm quite happy that they've done quite well, and I think that actually, if we're in such an age of mass cost problems and the inability for a decent playing field for new teams to ever get going ever again, then if that's the way how new teams are ever going to get into the sport, then fine. It's disappointing, but it's very indicative of where Formula One is as a quote-unquote sport these days. Well, it's becoming more and more of a pantomime, in Mon Humble's opinions. But yeah, okay. I think it's a sad state of affairs, and I think it, in the same way that Haas, like all the Americans are like, yeah, they're going to win, and don't necessarily understand what they're talking about. You've got Haryanto winning the top driver of the race vote because everyone in Indonesia just goes, yeah, just vote for him. And then they had to revoke the public vote for driver of the day because it was Haryanto and stuff like that, because he's got 500,000 people on Twitter going nuts for him, but that don't even tune in to watch the race because they don't get it. And it's a sad state of affairs, but it's entirely predictable. And yeah, I don't think that. What am I trying to say? Mana's pace was perfectly fine if you was looking at one lap pace and one stint pace. It didn't quite work overall. Where did we end up in the end? Oh, he's still 15th. Oh, Vettel didn't even get time because he rammed.
No, which is beautiful. I think he binned it.
Yeah, he rammed into the back of me, which I may think might have been lag related.
Could have been. The interesting thing is that I'm 8/10 off the back of you, which is makes the gap between us seem a bit larger. No, I'm with you on what you're saying. I think also this requires us to give a tip of the hat to McLaren, not only because they've definitely made a noticeable step forward this season, but credit to Big Ron where it's due, and it's not often I give him credit at the moment, but at least he's sticking to doing things the right way, because I get with what you're saying, and like I said in my own video on it, if this is a way to keep teams like Sauber in the sport, you can argue that it's good. But the problem I have is that we already have this problem with engines, where if a team becomes too competitive, the leading engine manufacturers don't want to supply them.
Mm-hmm.
How bad is it going to be when you've got half the grid buying essentially off-the-shelf chassis components from the other half of the grid, or even the top three teams?
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite a single make formula, but you're on the way, and then what? You end up, especially if a big formula change happens, you end up with 2, possibly 3 teams that have any realistic opportunity to win the championship.
Yes. Because
And-
Haas in their current position will never be allowed to win.
Not consistently, no. No, if they were finishing anywhere near the Ferrari works team, Ferrari would end the cooperation.
Yeah. Hello, Sauber.
They have to be a sort of best of the rest
Mhm.
to maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's not really where any team one should be, and it's certainly not the American way.
No.
I don't want people to think I'm anti-American here. I'm genuinely not. I'm anti the damage this does to the sport.
Yeah.
Because it does damage the sport. As I said in my video, F1's always been this rich ground of really talented engineers. And if a team like Force India or Sauber looks at the Haas model and says, hey, why are we still making all these components when we can't make them as well as Ferrari or Mercedes or Red Bull, and we can buy them off the shelf for a fraction of the cost? Boom, hire all our engineers.
Yeah.
Is that really the model of Formula One we want to go towards?
Mhm.
I would hazard a guess that the answer to that question is no. I would certainly hope that the answer is no.
No, I completely agree.
Do you think I'm being melodramatic? I don't know. Some people probably disagree with what I'm saying, but...
No, because it's a slippery slope, isn't it? Where once one does it, and then if they continue to get moderate success, I think that'll be the catalyst. There's going to be horrific lag here, I can tell already. And I'm shit off the line.
I know I had to come off the power there. Because I definitely don't want to see that. I don't want to see this loss of engineering talent. I don't want to see... I definitely don't want to see a situation where half the grid is reliant on 3 manufacturers. And let's not forget that Toro Rosso was torn to shreds for following what is basically the Haas model.
Yep.
Buying
Well,
everything from all technologies.
There was the whole thing about customer cars, wasn't there, in middle, where it was Toro Rosso and then Super Aguri got pulled into that as well. And Midland.
I mean, as great as the Haas debut was, and it was a great story,
Yeah.
let's not pretend that the rules regarding what constitutes a constructor... Oh, mate!
Down the straight.
Who hit you?
Possibly Grosjean. Maybe he heard.
You mock me for last time, roast beef.
Cunty wank fucks. I've got hit as well.
That's some world-class swearing, Simon.
That is. Thank you very much. Tip from my hats.
Oh, and I've just been put into the wall and knocked out of the race back of Fiat.
You're out.
Yeah.
Oh no. Are we able
Are
to
you still in?
restart? Barely.
Can we restart?
See if it will let us. Yeah. It won't keep our qualies though, will it?
No.
That's all right.
We'll just do a random grid restart. Sod it.
Yeah. We're in the heat of battle and heat of the moment.
But as great as that story was and everything, I don't think we should pretend that. Actually, I should stop talking, right? So we can cut this out. Do we cut this out? I don't know.
No, keep going.
All right, I'll keep going then. Professional.
Profesh.
Let's not pretend that the rules over what constitutes a constructor were not rewritten specifically to let Haas in.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly what happened. If they weren't an American team, if they weren't the source of all Bernie desires,
yes. To then get
this just, this just wouldn't be happening. And like I say, props to Big Ron, because he's realised that the only way McLaren can ever hope to win a title in future is by being a works partner with an engine supplier.
Yeah.
And manufacturing their own components. I mean, McLaren must be hemorrhaging cash.
Oh yeah,
Just
because they've got no
everywhere.
sponsors anywhere or anything, have they? It's just
It must be a financial bloodbath inside that team, because they've not fired anyone. They've continued to pour money into the team, and credit to them for doing it. But
yeah.
I
Two
still
old
don't see them
champions.
coming out of this. I don't see them being a force for the championship for, I don't know, a long time. I think Renault will be challenging for podiums before McLaren will.
Yeah, and I suppose the other issue is how long do you give something before you go, this isn't working, or how long do you give something for it to then be effective if you only win once, or something like that? Like if you win
Yeah.
one championship and then you never quite hit that peak again, was it really all that worth it? It's very difficult to balance. I've just realised we're not going to be able to choose setups, are we?
That's the least of our problems, mate.
That's true. The lag will kill us before anything happens anyway. The lag.
You're 17th,
Fab.
and I'm somewhere I definitely don't belong. Where's it put me? Oh, surely not. Roberto Merri 5th, me 4th.
Oof.
Maldonado on pole. Man, if qualifying wasn't like a good portion of the video, we should do random grids every time. That's brilliant. Oh no, I can load car setup.
I can't do my one-up ones.
That is a stupid feature as well. Why can you load a setup but not create one?
Yeah.
God damn it,
I'm sure I
Codemasters.
do that in the future. Where,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut down the mic there. I thought it was muted. I'm going to take a quick drink because I'm choking to death, and then we'll crack on.
Okay. I like the fact that I've got a file called Ben may be a genius ... question mark.
You really have that?
Yep.
Is that my Monaco setup?
No, it's your Melbourne setup. And then the following one afterwards was please don't let this be 20th. Expectations dropped between round 1 and round 2.
I'm glad that it only took one round to realise that I'm not a genius.
Boo. Right, let's do this.
Let's do this. Well, I was great off the line there.
Yeah, I was better off the line. Oh, there is so much lag going on. Oh my god!
Have you had another accident?
Yeah, but I'm still oh no, I'm having another accident. But it's okay, there's enough gravel there. How do I get a warning for that? Oh,
There's going to be a serious Ben train going on because I've come out ahead of Raikkonen somehow.
Excellent.
There's going to be a big accident at some point because this AI cannot overtake.
They can't overtake when it's lag. Never mind. Right, let's do a burn up from the back.
Recovery drive. So now things are calming down a little bit. Let's get back to it.
Yep.
So we made some predictions, and many of them came true. Many of them were wrong. We talked about how our Manor prediction and our Haas prediction were wrong,
Yes.
fairly or unfairly. And how our prediction about Jolyon Palmer was way off the money as well.
Yes.
Williams, they surprised me, and not in a good way.
Shockingly anonymous.
Really rather poor.
I thought so. The fact that there was a lot of carnage going on, I think, kind of meant that Massa lucked into his points position. And Bottas's inability to get past a lot of cars as quickly as I thought he would have done or could have done was just as bad.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily see that as a reflection on him as much as I saw it as a reflection of the car being incredibly compromised, actually.
Yes.
It seems that what we were saying, that we're better in slow corners now, has compromised their strength in the fast corners.
Yes.
And I'd like to think that they're aware of this and find some fix for it very, very quickly, because I don't think anybody wants to see Williams go back to the bad old days.
Yeah, and I guess because, the grid is so much closer now, is that what is not like a massive performance loss compared to other teams, is it shown up so much more because of just how close in general everyone else is.
And I think the same can be said of Sauber, actually, that Sauber are not benefiting in the way we thought they might from pure reliability.
No, because so many people finished, and they were my kind of reject team of the race because of how terrible that was. Hang on, sorry, I was just having to stop and overtake. Come on, Stevens, go back past. Thank you.
No, Will Stephen. Oh. Belong in WEC now.
Yes. Thank you. Now I've overtaken.
I've had my customary collision with Hulkenberg.
Ah, you
I've
two
had
are
a
such
collision with
friends.
Hampton.
Oh, I see you. Oh, Merry's just having a massive accident all by himself.
Good man.
Oh, he saved it though. Less of a good man. Oh, Ericsson. Oh, hello.
Oh, Hara.
Oh, Harianto. Who was not terrible, may I say. Oh, hello.
I moved
Hello.
faster than the car ahead to Sector 1. Damn you, Ericsson, and your flat pack furniture. Oh!
And your
Oh,
meatball.
sorry, mate.
That's
I just
right,
couldn't keep it.
There was no touch. It was fine.
For me, it was, but you didn't go off or anything. I just clipped your tyre with it was a puncture causer.
Oh, Ericsson. They're my IKEA meatballs.
That was an interesting overtake.
Was. This Mirry one's going to be even worse. He's lagging out all over the shop.
Oh, I've got the Durs. For possibly the second time in my career. Oh, mate. That was a massive collision. You still in the race?
Yeah. I'm going to have to pit though.
I like how Jeff has referred to it as an incident.
That was a fucking pandemic, not an incident.
There has been an incident.
Still not last. Yeah. So, what? Where do you see Williams now? Then, do you think that they're still in a battle for third? Do we think that that is now open for Toro Rosso, or? I was a bit disappointed with Force India.
I would say it's Red Bulls. And
Yeah.
that surprises me, genuinely. I thought... I imagine on one lap pace, Raikkonen running massively wide there. I imagine on one lap pace that it's all Toro Rosso all the time, but it seems on race pace, the Red Bull is not as bad as we first expected, and the Renault power unit seems to have moved very much in the right direction.
Well, yeah, because they weren't being absolutely trounced and overtaken all the time, were they? So that was nice.
So for third, I could see Red Bull at a push Force India. And to be honest with you, Force India were kind of anonymous for me during that Grand Prix. I can't remember really how well they did. I was so focused on teams like Renault and McLaren and Haas and stuff that I sort of didn't really pay much attention to Force India.
No, and I mean, they dutifully collected some pointies, but I expected more, and I think they may have done as well. And I was expecting more for them because they got 9th and 10th in quali, which set them up in prime positions. That was better than being 11th in Q2 because you're even further up the grid. So quite how they managed to not pull off anything massively better. I think a bit like Toro Rosso themselves, wasted opportunity, which I think helped out Williams in the long end because they didn't look like they were going to get nearly as many points as they did in the end. And I think they'll breathe a bit of a sigh of relief after what was a bit of a shitty pace.
Yeah. Whereas, conversely, another team that surprised me, let's touch Scuderia Ferrari, man.
Yes.
First of all, props to Kimi Räikkönen for actually showing up to the championship this season.
Yes, vaguely there, yeah.
He put it on pole briefly. I imagine, would have come in second or third.
Yeah.
I could see him winning a race this season, which I didn't expect that I would.
Yeah.
If he can sort of keep on the boil. I think the car is certainly built for Seb. But, you know, given that they apparently enjoy the same kind of car, I'm going to have to pit, man. My tires are shot buggery.
That's right. I
don't know
think it's lap 6 that people were supposed to start pitting anyway, so you're only one off.
Well, then I'll... Oh, no, it is my turn to pit.
Oh.
It's a long pit lane here. I was catching Ricciardo for 10th. I might actually get a cheeky point out of this, man.
Ooh. Sneaky squirrels. And how nice was it to have Ferrari looking like they led on, like, genuinely, it wasn't luck, and having actual proper battles for the wins and the leads and stuff like that. It was nice.
I expected him to make a jump. I didn't expect him to make such a jump, and I believe I've read in more than one place that, without the red flag certainly, but in general, they were the fastest cars on track.
Yes.
And I think that's a shock for everybody.
Least of all, probably Ferrari themselves.
Yeah, but I tell you what, for once, I don't begrudge Ferrari some success. I mean, I know they get special treatment, and I bitch about them all the time, but truth be told, the sport will be poorer for their absence, and they're a team that ceaselessly pours millions into trying to win.
Yeah.
And they don't complain too much. They're certainly not a Red Bull level of complainer.
Yeah, I suppose it's become a bit of a better the devil you know with Ferrari, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where they...
Well, at least they get what Formula One's supposed to be.
Yes. And I do like Mr. Bossman at the moment at Ferrari. He seems to just bring this hark back to cheesy coolness of like the late 80s, early 90s. That
who doesn't want more of that?
Exactly. He's the kind of man that would take you out to dinner and then order you a prostitute for the way home.
Exactly.
And then just go, it's okay, company card. And he just seems that kind of guy.
I look at him, and in my head, a voice just says, Club Tropicana, drinks are free. He's just that kind of dude. I know exactly what you're saying. Like an 80s Hawaiian shirt on a yacht.
Yeah.
Let's go to Monaco. F1 is all about that. He's a Flav. He's a Flav character.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say me and my mate Flav have got ourselves a little pad. Come on our yacht in Monaco.
Can I just say that would be the best sitcom of all time? Sergio Marchionne and Flavio Briatore. And maybe Charlie Sheen sharing an apartment in Monaco.
Channel 4 only able to show that one.
Can the makers of Big Brother please make that happen? I would watch that. That would be reality TV I would actually watch. Flavality TV.
Flavality. Welcome to
no
the
one seems to be pitting.
Diary room. No, they don't.
Have you stopped yet?
Yeah. I had to come in after my let's take Ericsson take me out down the straight.
I must have lost a lot of time in my pit stop then because I've not passed anybody in the pits. Stevens has beat me so badly in the pit stops that I can't see him on the minimap ahead of me.
I don't think they've pitted, you know. I wonder if it stuck us on a two-stopper without actually ever letting us change because Codemasters games. And we're now just committed to trying to catch a manor by the end of it.
I was going to say it is an odd one that we are two stopping.
Oh, there's someone in. Oh, Grosjean.
Oh, hee haw, hee haw. Casual racism for the masses. No, I would say that Ferrari are the team to beat this season, and it actually makes me happy.
Yes.
I'm sure Mercedes will make a comeback at some point, but it seems to be the nature of F1 that when a team is successful to the extent that Mercedes have been, they develop themselves down a certain way that they're scared to deviate from. And if Ferrari have found something faster now, I think it's a case of being brave and having a revolution rather than an evolution for Mercedes. And I'm not sure that any team has the balls to do that.
No, especially when it's at the end of like a development cycle of types of car and stuff like that as well, where the focus will be spend more in 2017 and let this one get away almost. Not that they'd want to necessarily, but...
That's true, actually, because let's be honest, 2017 is, in all but name, a new formula.
Yeah.
If all the changes go through.
Yes, with Mr. FIA, let's revoke a revoke of a revoke. I mean, if anything to do with all the changes for qualifying, and all of that rubbish continues on, who knows what formula we'll get for 2017, and maybe they'll decide in about December this year, and then there'll be a development race where actually everyone just comes out with like MVP soapboxes.
You know, it's very fashionable and has been for years to sort of trash the FIA and Formula One management and stuff, and I've never really bought into it. But this is the first time I would say that I could honestly say that F1's truly in an organisational crisis.
Yeah.
Where things are as bad as people say they are, and it's not all hyperbole and drama. And it's a time for the sport where, I mean, what must the FIA meetings be like? I can only imagine it's the Mad Hatter's fucking tea party. Bernie's there in his big purple hat, smoking a shisha. And he's just like, sprinklers, make it rain when it's not raining, and replace all the trophies with gold medals. Oh, and today's Tuesday, so what I said about qualifying doesn't matter anymore, and we're going to have the same qualifying that everybody hates and we know doesn't work for Bahrain.
Yes.
A very happy on birthday to you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the only team that supported that qualifying system was Force India, because they came 8th, 9th and 10th probably. Because they had to have a unanimous vote to get it through, and if they are the team yet again that's stopping something going through, a bit like when they done the whole money crisis for, I think it was Mana in 2014, and then came crying for money afterwards themselves. A bit naughty there from Vijay Mallya, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter. I can live with a decision if you just fucking stick with it. And then I can get used to something. But there's an article that went up on GP Update, I think it was. Oh, Kvyat, I think, gave you a nudge there, didn't he?
He was on the verge of it, but luckily I had better traction out of the corner than he did.
Okay.
But he's got the Durs on me.
Durs. I was looking at a thing where it was talking about how qualifying has changed over the years, and for the first 45-50 years of the sport there was only one change, and then since 2003 there's just like this epic 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006 to 2009, 2010 to 2015. I just thought, no wonder everyone just goes, what the fuck? Because it's more bipolar than someone that's got two dicks and two arses and doesn't know where to stick it.
I think it's going to come out at some point in the future that all the good that Bernie's done for the sport, and he has done a lot of good, and I'm not going to dispute it, at some point, I think it's going to come out that between 2013 and 2015, things sort of switched, and he became a mad bastard. Just completely off his rock and nuts. I mean, he's had a long history of contradicting himself quite publicly anyway, saying one thing and then within almost the space of the same sentence giving a completely contradictory message. And people have always attributed that to being like a shrewd businessman and playing psychological games. But no one ever really entertains the notion that he's a 78-year-old man who's gone completely bonkers.
Exactly. And one day, heavy rainfall and track in 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Shit, what does that put us? That puts us what? Lap
About
17,
19?
18?
Yeah.
And that's before the track actually gets wet.
Oh, Raikkonen, you scared me.
My tyres have gone off completely.
Who wants to pit then? Do you want to pit this lap or?
I don't know, because I'm going to have to put primes on, and then I'm going to have to come in again for the wet tyres.
So I may gamble and go for yet another round of.
Raikkonen tried to punt me off there and very nearly succeeded.
I saw it.
I know people say that the more aggressive AI should be more of a challenge and everything, and I agree, and it is more of a challenge.
Are you pitting?
But, I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll go on another lap.
My pit indicator is not out, but I'm coming in.
Sorry, signs. Just Verstappen didn't.
I have to say as well, the Toro Rosso, while it looked fantastic, generally, I don't think it quite had the race pace people were expecting.
No, that seemed like two guys able to just go absolutely fucking nuts and whack it out over a lap.
It seems to be a driver's car.
Yes.
I'm not stopping again, Jeff. You can kiss my balls. I'm not coming off these tyres until the track is literally saturated. Otherwise, I can't make this strategy work.
What tyres did you go to? What tyres did you go for?
Prime.
Okay.
I know I probably should have gone for option if we know it's going to rain. But I didn't want to be caught out.
Okay.
Plus this way I can stay out longer and wait for the rain. I don't know, the tyres seem to go off here in a different way. Like, I found I've really losing grip after about 4 laps. How are you getting on?
Yeah, I seem to have quite a big drop off on time, lap by lap. Yeah.
I have to say my first stint was excellent. I was very, very happy with my first stint. And that's probably the happiest I've been with my driving since Bahrain.
And you said this was a bogey track.
Because at Bahrain I had an excellent Grand Prix, if you recall.
Yeah.
Brought it home 6th, I think, and I was gaining all the way. Bye!
Oh, hello. You're not racing the car behind? No, I don't want to be lapped.
We've got to let him through. We'll only get into trouble. Max, not Max, what am I talking about? Charlie Whiting will only give us a spankaroo.
Oh, come on, Vettel. He was taking forever.
Was he?
No. Don't be so ginger.
We don't bite.
We just crash.
Yeah. We may crash unpredictably into your side pod and put you out of the race, but...
Hey, no we're not. We're not AI.
I really came off the power there to just get him through while we were on that straight. No, what I was going to say before Vettel so rudely interrupted us was, what is the point of yellow flags in this game, given that crash cars just evaporate?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, no overtaking to the yellow flag zone. Well, the yellow flag zone lasts about 1.5 seconds, and then it's immediately green again, so why even put the fucking thing in? I genuinely don't understand what they're going for. I don't think Codemasters know what they're going for. Look at you with the DRS. Are you on options?
No.
You cheeky monkey.
That was like really scary. When you see that back, you'll see how darty your car was.
I'm a very darty kind of individual.
And darty is how I would describe, or not describe, Lewis Hamilton's start off the line. Oh, yeah. I smell rain already. Well, I don't smell rain. I see it. Sorry.
I was going to say, what game are you playing?
I've got my Oculus sniffed on.
Uh-oh, it's Massa.
Believe me, baby, stay cool. Yeah, and what delighted me so much about that start was not only did Hamilton get a doozy, but Rosberg gave him a little bit of medicine when he hung him out to dry at turn 1 and gave him a little love tap as well. And Hamilton, to be fair, I didn't see or didn't hear him say anything about it, because if he did, it would have been sour grapes because of the amount of shit that he's done off the start line to him.
Yeah, it would.
So I didn't hear him say anything. But if he did...
Oh, that was a bit of a tap there as well, speaking of love taps.
It was a bit.
I just want to say as well how happy I was that Rosberg won the race, because I didn't believe he was capable of it, and he's someone else I owe an apology to.
Yeah, because we did say he looked a bit homeless, didn't he? Which is how we judge Rosberg pace.
Yeah, that he looked like a homeless man. So, maybe he'd gone to the Samaritans and they'd given him a hot food and a shower and stuff, and that enabled him to get into a race-winning mentality. I honestly didn't think he was in the mindset to beat Lewis, and he did, on merit.
Yes.
He didn't deserve to win the race outright. I think it was Seb's race to throw away, and unfortunately
he did.
He threw it away, but through no fault of his own.
Right, I'm pitting for...
Are you going intermediates or full wets?
I'm going to go full wets. Oh, there's a Ferrari going very slowly. Oh, it's Raikkonen. Oh, no front wing, that's why.
Double overtake. See you later. Ciao, bitches.
You might get a triple.
What, bud? If Ferrari do have dominant pace, I would like to see the back of their rear wing just saying ciao, bitches. Jeff just told me something and I don't know what it was.
I just got told it's a crossover point for intermediates.
Oh yeah, I'm losing grip all over the fucking place. Did he say crossover between dries and intermediates, or intermediates and full wets?
It just said intermediates.
I don't know, he just told me to try my best to find the grip. I'm going to let you pit and see how you get on. It's going to be the slowest lap in history. I'm already regretting not coming in.
Well, I've gone and chose the full wets. I'm not going to go for inters. This could be a terrible mistake.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because this game is, again, terrible at having overlap between the tyre compounds.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. If I make it round this lap with my car intact, a miracle will have taken place. I just went round turn 5 at like 60 kilometers per hour. Volvos. Oh, Mary, you bastard.
Oh, I think I've made the right decision.
I've lost my front wing because Mary purposefully, he swerved to do it, put me in the wall.
No. fucking Roberto. Where's he up to these days? I don't even know what he does anymore.
You're saying full wets was the way to go, right?
It feels like it's the right way to go.
Can
I'm
you
not
tell me
sliding everywhere anyway.
I'm trying to see if everyone's on. I think I saw blue. I've just gone round for another lap like a fucking tit.
Have you?
Yeah.
Why am I just lapping you into maggots, overtaking you to maggots and Beckett's then?
Oh, maybe because I'm an idiot. Super slow-mo.
Oh, Hamilton's on intermediates. Ah, and he's pitting. Yeah, full wet it, mate.
Right, roger that. So I'm glad I stayed out now, because I was thinking of going on to intermediates.
Yeah, they're all back in again.
Okay, so I can still gain. I can still get a win out of this. I'm 19th by a long way, but I can still do alright. Yeah, Massa's just come out of the pits in front of me, so... And I get my wing replay. Actually, that holds me up massively. Damn it! Do you know what? If I hadn't have been such a great teammate to you, and I'd stolen that pit stop, this could be a very different story. And the Carlos Sainz to your Verstappen.
Oh, boo. I wouldn't complain to our daddy and say he's holding me up. Let them in, bro. Also, adding shots to the drinking game that is Formula One, shots for every time they show Jos Verstappen, who now gets more TV time that he's not in the car and not in F1 than he ever did when he was in it.
That is true. Jonathan Palmer got a fraction of the TV time. By the way, did you go and listen to that 5 Live podcast with Jonathan Palmer?
That's
fucking
what
hilarious.
Awkward.com.
Jack Nichols, Jack, what were you doing, man?
And
you could hear him trying to talk his way out of it.
Yeah.
He realised that he'd only asked about Max, and that this wasn't Max's dad, and then elongate his sentence massively to try, in a roundabout way, make it in some way tangentially relevant to the son of the man he was talking to, which has to have an awkward award.
Yeah.
Apparently it's going to ease off into light rain.
Oh. Well, let's not.
Thanks for that. Fortunately, they came out a lot worse than I did, so ciao. Yeah, K-Mags had a pretty shitty race. I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
Given that, he had that problem at the start, and then he kind of the red flag should have helped him out a lot more than it did, and it just showed that Palmer was a lot more at home in the car than K-Mags was.
Yes.
Which surprised everybody, I feel.
Yeah. I was surprised as well, to be fair. And yeah, because he got the wave around, didn't he? He got the Nuzgar.
Yeah.
Which didn't help necessarily. Although we still need to continue our celebration of actually having a car with a decent, bright colour scheme on the grid.
Yeah, we do, and that's why we are Renault boys through and through.
Yep.
I would say it's the best looking car on the grid.
Certainly one of the
And I
fleets.
like that have you seen their front wing? It's completely fucking mental, and I take my hat off to them for it.
I can't remember.
Have a look at it. It's got about 8 planes. It looks like one of those aeroplanes you would see from the First World War being flown by a man with a wax moustache. It harks back to like 04, 05, 06, 07 when aero devices were just sprouting out everywhere. And I believe it's the first triple plane front wing in this formula.
Oh, cool.
Although I could be wrong.
Okay. I should take a peek. Light rain in 10 minutes, Jeff just told me.
What if I don't want to let them pass, Jeff? Did you ever think of that? I don't have enough fuel to finish the race, so I'm going to turn down my power.
I normally find the wet in mix one is often easier to drive. I don't know if that's a psychological thing.
Oh, Bottas. Bottas just overtook me, then braked right in front of me and has taken off my front wing.
No!
I feel like they're targeting me specifically. That's what this game does to me. It makes me feel like I'm being targeted specifically. I tell you what, though, I am pleased. Let's not. It's been a. It may, to the untrained ear, sound quite negative, some of the stuff I'm saying, but I just want to go on record and say I'm very pleased that in a McLaren on expert difficulty, I have performed overtakes today. Numerous overtakes.
Yeah.
And although once again I've been robbed of a result that I arguably deserved, I'm still enjoying doing this, and I still enjoy having a bit of a pootle round of an afternoon talking F1.
Tyres need to last to the end of the race. No.
That was a deliberate ramming, Ricciardo. So I'm glad you're out of the race because that was deliberate. I cannot understand people who defend this AI when they deliberately swerve into you. They can see you, and they swerve at the last minute to make sure they hit you.
Yeah, sometimes I think actually no, I could have left them more room or stuff like that. But definitely there are occasions where you just think, for fuck's sake.
No, I mean we were on a straight there, and he was like to the right of me, and then he turned in onto my racing line and then just went straight into the back of me.
Ugh.
I mean, competitive AI or not, surely they can see when they're going to crash into something.
Yes.
Can we take a moment to appreciate that Channel 4 must have got some of the criticism levelled at them after qualifying, because I found the race coverage to be less obnoxious.
Yeah, it seems to tone down the bants a little bit, which was just as well. Because that was. Really
I found it was much improved. It's still not a patch on BBC F1,
nope.
And while it's not exactly miles ahead of Sky, the fact that it isn't Sky speaks to its favour, and yes. I'm fucking livid that from 2019 onwards, live coverage will be entirely behind a paywall in the UK, and I cannot comprehend of the mulleted gibbon that must have had that as an idea and gone, yeah, can't see a problem there.
It is absolutely crazy, and so I've heard through the grapevine that Sky are going to be launching a free highlights channel, but since their viewing figures are only a couple of 100,000 for the real stuff that people are paying for, which I think is actually quite low.
It's incredibly low.
Yeah. And the Australian Grand Prix this year had the lowest figures of all time for viewing, I think, which is a shame because actually it was quite a bit more of a perkier race. I think
but qualifying had turned people off by then.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
I don't see what Sky would get from having a heavily neutered, like 10-minute probably session that they cover the qualifying and the highlights and have basically be a constant revolving advert to buy the stuff. I just know. And part of me makes me think, I wonder if that was, along with the reversion back to elimination qualifying for Bahrain, what sparked that letter that went on Twitter from the drivers GPDA?
I would like to think so. I hope it was a factor.
Because
I
it
hope
feels
they're
like
aware
one
of
of
it.
those things where it's such a tipping point decision that one of your biggest, strongest bases, because what that does is it then stops. We're lucky in the UK, we have our own native coverage on our own native channel, but think of all of those then other countries that then buy in and like then tune in for the race only and don't have any pit reporters down there and buy things off of Channel 4 or the BBC as it was before, and the huge knock-in impact that has for other countries. And I was just looking around. The rain's come off. This is Inters. Shit.
Well, bollocks, I'm not pitting again. That will make it a 6-stop race for me.
Oh no, it reckon. Oh, Jeff, make up your mind.
Yeah, he's just me. It's still wet, but it's going to turn to winters in a few laps. He thinks.
Yeah, he's just said the same to me. I'm going to change. Fuck it. I'm not in the points now. Yeah, I can't even keep it on the road. Tyres, intermediate, please. Thank you.
No, I mean, sorry. Yeah, you finished making your point, and
I can't remember what it was now, so it couldn't have been that good. I was just earning to remember that I wanted to say something, but don't worry.
Well, I mean, we live in an age where if you don't catch a race alive, it's a very, very high chance that it's going to be spoiled for you. Mm-hmm. I got someone who added me on Twitter, presumably through this. Foreign guy, I think he was from somewhere in Asia. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I watched the Australian Grand Prix as highlights, I assume. I know I did. And he just casually, because he's in Asia and he's in the same time zone as the Grand Prix,
yep.
He just casually put up, Nico Rosberg wins ahead of... So why? Why do that?
You can't go online. Oh, Ferrari are out in the pits for Inters as well, by the way. You can't not go on the internet or basically have a conversation with anyone anymore because of how connected the world is. I mean, we wait a few days at least before we do our fail cast. Before we spoil everything for everyone in deconstruction. But yeah, it is a pain in the arse. So I try to not go on any social media ever.
I mean, as well, the teams are guilty because they live tweet what they're doing.
Yeah. And then it's on their Facebook page, and then it's chatting to each other and vote for us in some obscure vote.
Exactly, and so the problem is that it's very easy to be exposed to the result. The news even does it. BBC News will say, Nico Rosberg won the Australian Grand Prix.
Yep.
Because they've got no, if they're not showing the highlights, they've got no horse in that race. They're not going to say, well, we're showing highlights later, so if you don't want to know the result, look away now, because it's nothing to them.
Yeah.
And what you're going to end up with is a generation of kids being exposed to the result before they've had a chance to see it, because their parents aren't going to buy an F1 channel because kids might be interested in Formula One. You have to be a fan already.
Yes.
And the only way to be a fan already is to see, in real time, amazing racing between world-class drivers.
Yes.
We all remember the driver or incident that got us into Formula One. For me, it was Jean Alesi in his Ferrari days. I saw some very mercurial driving from him in the early 90s, and I was hooked from then. Mm-hmm. I think every F1 fan knows the team or the driver or the race or the incident that first made them go, wow, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. And got them into it. And you need to experience that organically. Not only that, but I mean, the value of sponsorship contracts immediately goes down. Trackside sponsorship, what's that worth if you're taking a very loyal viewer base of millions in the UK. I mean, the F1's most loyal market. F1 has got greater market penetration in the UK than it has in any other country. A greater percentage of the British people watch F1 than any other country has a percentage of its population watch F1.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to take that away from them, put it behind a paywall, an expensive paywall at that,
Yeah.
and expect everyone to pay for it. I mean, only a chimp in a suit could have made that decision. No logical human being could have come to a conclusion that this was a good idea in any way. They're taking the short-term money over the long-term gain, and it drives me nuts. And I've already said that if it goes through this way, if it really goes down this way, and a change isn't made, I mean, the government should step in. The government stepped in before to stop certain football matches going behind a paywall, because it's in the national interest. Yes, they have, yeah. They stepped in for, I think it was the 2006 European Football Championships to stop Sky and BT taking it all behind a paywall.
Interesting.
It's actually the Culture Secretary put something through that it's legally mandated now that a certain percentage of national football matches have to be on free-to-air television.
I love that that's a thing, and yet there's like clearly loads of other weird rules that you just think, well, why isn't that in place?
And, you know, why would you sponsor an F1 team? Why would you sponsor a track? Why would you sponsor a Grand Prix if no one's going to be watching the fucking thing? The sport's fundamentally broken anyway. They've ruined qualifying. They seem to be... First they were apologetic and said they'd change it, and now they seem very reluctant to change it, and they're going to try and force it to work, even though Christian Horner said, we told them this was what would happen, and then it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing I can think of for them trying it again in Bahrain is that there's collusion going on, and all the teams have made a promise to run their cars the entire session. That's all I can think of. I can't think of why any team would say, yeah, all right, we'll give it another try. Because the backlash was so vitriolic.
Yeah.
And it will know, because if every car is running in the final session all the way through, if we barely see anybody coming into the pits, then you know they've had a meeting where it has been forced upon them that this format has to work.
Yes. And I think what that then says to me is just how powerless the team bosses are in the face of great change, and also how meaningless it was that you had all of these interviews with people saying, we've listened to the fans and we've changed things back and we're going to do X, Y, and Z and all of that rubbish. Bollocks. Are they? It's just trying to pander to people that you've already lost because it didn't need changing in the first place. It's just...
Some people don't like Formula One. The sooner they come to terms with that reality and stop trying to win everybody in the world over, the sooner they'll have a more pure product that keeps the fans they've already got.
Exactly. And those fans will look after the fan generation for them because of the way how they go to their future generations. Look at this. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy. Take a look at this. By putting it behind a paywall, what you do is you remove anyone wanting to ever do that. So, and you cut off any new blood that comes in. Bizarre.
You really do, and you know, let's not dilute things too much here. If Formula One goes behind a paywall for English language coverage, I won't be able to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be working entirely off tidbits from Autosport, and you know, the only way you can have an opinion is if you're involved and you're seeing things with your own eyes and you're experiencing the sport, and that wouldn't be what was happening.
Yeah.
14th, not bad for you.
Oh, I was so annoyed at that early collision, though. I thought there was more to be had. Interesting that people were switching to dry weather tyres.
I think that shows how to what degree this game is particularly broken.
Yeah, I mean, Massa came in on his final lap. So he was about to overtake me and didn't. He peeled off to the pits to change to dry tyres as we crossed the line.
Mental. Completely mental.
That's
anyway,
F1 in a nutshell.
Yeah, that was a pretty good rant for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, props where it's due. I think Channel 4 made an effort to improve the coverage second time round. What annoyed me is that their stream has a habit of rewinding if your connection's too slow.
Oh.
So I ended up watching like a set of adverts 4 or 5 times before the stream caught up.
Nice.
Which is incredibly frustrating. I found that Mark Webber and David Coulthard make quite a good pairing.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of them, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two, Susie and occasionally Eddie Jordan, would have been the dream lineup, but we're stuck with that poxy Welshman now. So, we can't win it all.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it rained. All this stuff rained on what was a very promising season opener. I think Ferrari are actually the team to beat, and I'd like to see a run to the finish line late in the season between Vettel and Rosberg. I think 3 is enough for Lewis for now, to be honest.
I want him to have a shit season.
He's crossed the douchebag event horizon. Have you seen those fucking glasses? And he's playing the piano now. He thinks he's fucking John Lennon.
So he doesn't think he's what's the Stevie Wonder blindly playing.
No,
Looking at me and
he's got more than one pair as well. He's got more than one pair. So you take them away, and he goes from the fucking green ones to the silver ones with the horn tip. And what are they? What are they? He doesn't need glasses. He's an F1 driver. You can't need glasses and be an F1 driver in most cases. Sebastian Bourdais accepted.
But yeah,
why is he wearing fatty glasses?
Maybe it's so that he can look better on Instagram when he's about to be arrested for driving on a...
But he doesn't. He looks like a bell end. He looks like a complete bell end. Stop it, Lewis. Stop it.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's him trying to look like he's more sophisticated than his skankiness. That's
yes.
With his scrubs. Yeah, I'd second that. I think Mercedes is still the team to beat. I think Ferrari is right behind. I would also like to see Vettel versus Rosberg, and I'd like to see Hamilton have one of those I'm too amazing and be whipped back into shape after 2 years of winning his ways. I think you get that throughout F1 and just sport in general, in that you kind of get winner fatigue. We had it with Michael Schumacher. We had it with... that's Vettel. It, really. Yeah, Vettel as well. And now Vettel has gone through the shitty 2014, a nice recovery 2015, where it's like, oh, okay, so now you're showing that you can do something elsewhere. And now I'm actually surprisingly back behind him because he seems to have grown and been allowed to show a much more nicer, wilder personality. And a personality that is actually relatable and nice and normal and not just 100% cock.
That's very true. He's infinitely more likable at Ferrari than he was at Red Bull, and that seems counterintuitive as an outcome from that partnership. But yes, it's true.
Yeah. Predictions for Bahrain before we sign off.
Predictions for Bahrain. I'm going to call it a Ferrari win.
Ooh.
I'm going to say a crash back to reality for Haas.
Yes.
I expect them to finish somewhere around Sauber Manor Town. I would expect Renault to make some inroads, and I would expect actually Williams not really to improve, so maybe Force India actually would do quite well there. Yeah, it's hard to call still. It's hard to call, but I'm going to say Vettel for the win. Then I guess Lewis probably second and Raikkonen third.
Okay.
What's your call?
I'm going to say that Bahrain, because of its straights, will favour Mercedes slightly over Ferrari. I'm going to say, sadly, a Mercedes one too, but I'd like it to be Rosberg ahead of Hamilton. Although I sadly think that it may be Hamilton. It depends. If Rosberg can carry it through, then I'll judge him by how long his hair and stubble is on Friday. We'll do the homeless test. If he looks homeless, he'll be second. If he looks like he's actually been to a B&B, then he'll win. Then I think Raikkonen will be third, and I don't think Vettel will finish because Raikkonen traditionally goes quite well at Bahrain. Force India, I agree with, will do much better because they traditionally go very well there, and it's Mercedes engines. I think Williams will trounce. I think Red Bull will have some kind of weird blow up. They'll probably have to put Sainz and Verstappen into a playpen down at turn 1, and they'll fight in soft play, and then miraculously, I don't know, maybe Verne and Alguersuari will just reappear from nowhere and take their places.
The ghost of Jean-Eric Verne. No, I could actually see them taking each other out quite soon.
Yeah, and when that happens, they'll have to step in.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling that it'll be Max that triggers it, but it'll be Sainz that gets punished.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's our call. What's your call? You should put it in the comments below, and we will discuss it.
Definitely.
Or you can Twitter us with the hashtag FailcastF1, which we're still trying to make a thing. And if you don't like to use that, you can always still use hashtag BringBackMaxChilton, which I'm still trying to get off the ground.
That small party. Although he didn't do too bad at the IndyCar race, although I was too busy lolling over the 20 million car pile-up that they all had.
Yes.
Oh, IndyCar. Yes. But he surprisingly finished, and he was midfield, so the world order has not been lost.
It has not.
Cool.
What's on your channel this week before we call it quits?
So there's going to be lots of Trackmania Turbo this week. And I'm preparing some other stuff for a new series that I'll be kicking off very shortly, which I'm going to just entitle Vroom. And it's going to be a selection of reviews that in-depth look at various racing games across the years. How about you?
Oh, that sounds very interesting. I'm trying to just finish what I've started. Like Magnus Magnussen. I've started, so I will finish. I'm pressing on with XCOM and my retired Formula 1 drivers. Trying to think of more puns and more laboured and painful ways to fit F1 drivers' names into action movie titles to make that work. But yeah, we've done all right so far. Fisichella, Nakano, Deniz, they're all there. They're all kicking alien arse. I have to pick up the Swiss Galacticalization, so there'll be a bit of that as well, and Grand Prix World as always.
Yay, fabulous. So don't forget to check out Definitely Zero over at is it Call Me Zero?
Both should work, but I think Definitely Zero is the one to look for, so look for that and you shall find.
Grandiose. I'll pop it in the comments as well. And we shall be back after the Bahraini Grand Prix, I'd imagine, to give our ranty views then, where we'll be taking on Hungary.
Hungry for some hungry.
Oh yeah, hungry horse. So it's next time from myself and Esteben. You guys take care. We'll see you soon.
Toodles.